What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. Today we're looking at my updated draft, the current draft, whatever you want to call it. I think the last one I did was a few weeks ago. A lot of people have been asking for this recently, so I'm putting it out today. Going to go through what the team is looking like, where I'm considering making changes. I'm going to do a bit of tinkering at the end as well. So give it a like if you enjoy it and hit that subscribe button if you're new around here, and let's jump into it. Okay, so let's start off with the defense. And to be honest, right, as I go through pre-season, I try and adapt to what we're hearing about at that point in time, right? So Luke Shaw has come out with the draft, but if I know that he's definitely fit for game week 1, then I will try and find that 0.5 million to upgrade him. But I do think Sofal's fixtures for West Ham are pretty decent. So you got Newcastle away to start off, then Leicester at home, Palace at home, Southampton away, Man United at home, Leeds away. So there are some fixtures in there that are tough. Leicester for sure, Man United and Leeds could all score against West Ham, but I've got the ability to rotate a little bit as well. What I would love to do for this draft is to get an extra 0.5 million to upgrade that third bench spot, which is Omar Bamadeli. Have I nailed that first time? I'm not even practiced. To upgrade that to a 4.5 million defender, just so I can rotate a little bit. Possibly even downgrading Sofal to a 4.5 and upgrading that spot without actually spending any more money in the squad. That's something I'm thinking about. Obviously, Lamptey now, there's reports coming out that he may not start the season. There's also a lot of stuff about Dunk. I think Dunk will be fine, by the way, but let's just wait and see. But Lamptey may not start the season, so Veltman should play in that right wing-back spot. And if not, he should be at least playing as a right centre-back. I do think he'll play regardless. So he's 4.5 million. You still cover that Brighton defence. And obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold stays in there as well. Aiding's just in there because he rotates quite well with Brighton. And I'm also thinking he can't go another season. We're getting 0 attack and returns. So defence hasn't changed too much, but I've definitely taken some money out of it. But as we're talking about my FPL team today, I thought it would also be good to update you on my Ultimate Fan team. So if you've not already checked it out, it's completely free to play app. You can click the link in the description below to download it if you're 18 and over from the UK and Ireland. You basically open packs and build a team. So I'm going to show you what I got in my gold packs this week. So when you sign up, you'll get a base pack with 10 cards in to basically start your team. But you can also sign up for a subscription to get the gold packs, right? So there's a few extra gold packs. You can't just buy as many as you want. Once you sign up, you get exactly the same amount of packs as someone else that signs up for the subscription as well. So let me show you what I got on my gold pack this week, right? So we're going to open it now just to see. Gross at Brighton, that's not too bad. He could be on penalties. Luka Dean, really good opening fixtures for Everton, plus Benitez as well. I like that. Aubameyang, now that is decent. Now, you might not think that Aubameyang is good because over a season you probably want Salah, Kane, etc. But because every single game week in this is a new contest, it means Aubameyang's good for game week 1 because they play Brentford. So even if I don't want him for the whole season, I'll put him in my team for game week 1. So let's put him in now. So I'm going to mess around with my team now, basically just edit it a little bit. So this slot here where Kyle Walker is can actually be a defender, midfielder or a forward. So I think I'm actually going to keep more pay in the team for now. It might be Gross instead. And I'm going to put Aubameyang instead of Kyle Walker and Luka Dean, who's very attacking, and got Benitez there now as well. Hopefully he remains attacking, by the way. Goes in instead of Rudiger. I've got Man United, which I'm really happy about. And I think you put Gross in instead of Thiago. I just think he's on penalties, more likely to be a little bit more attacking than Thiago is. So that's my team locked in as it stands. 2 Brighton players, but they have got really good fixtures to open the season. So I'll confirm that in just a second. If I click mods, I can put Golden Boot. It's definitely going on Aubameyang, and Captain is going on more pay, I think, for now. Again, I might change it in the future. So that's the team. Only other thing to say, they're constantly updating this app to add new features. One of the things they're doing very soon is the ability to battle essentially against other teams. So you'll be put with random teams and then the winner will get free cards, right? So that's going to be something really cool. And obviously you want to get your cards growing before the start of the season. So get signed up now if you're from the UK and Ireland, 18 and over. Click that link in the description below. So I'm actually currently on a 3-5-2. To be honest, very little difference between a 3-4-3 and a 3-5-2, apart from you get a 4.5 million bench fodder on your bench from the forward line, which is Davis for Villa, who's not going to play. At least if you get a 4.5 million midfielder, they're going to get you some points. There's a lot of options to choose from. Brownhill, Gilmore, maybe even Morgan Gibbs-White at Wolves as well. If he starts playing, by the way, as a number 10, full time, like most games, he will be the 4.5 million midfielder to pick. But for now, I've gone 3-5-2. I am finding it very difficult to leave out Fernandes and Salah. I have done plenty of drafts where I've left out Fernandes and I've put Son in, and it's let me have Sancho and maybe even Mahrez as well. But I keep coming back to the fact that am I just trying to look for a reason to sell Bruno Fernandes without having a very good reason. I'm still weighing up captaincy quite a lot. Like for the first couple of weeks, I think Salah is fine. You could captain a Man City player, obviously, in game week 2 against Norwich if you're sure about who's going to start. But Norwich away, Burnley at home is pretty good for Salah. And I think given that we don't know what Wolves' defense is going to be like Fernandes plays Wolves away and Newcastle at home in game week 3 and 4, and I think I'm probably just going to captain him in those 2 game weeks. So given that fact, he obviously has to be in the team. I've put Sancho in. Like, I kind of want to take a little bit of a punt to start the season with. Again, England player, he's going to be away with the squad for a little while, so we'll have to wait until he's back in pre-season training, whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says that he's available. I'm expecting him to play most minutes when he is fit and available. Whether or not I should start off with him is obviously a bit of a risk. Again, at that 9.5 million price point, there's a few things you can do. So if you can find 0.5 million more, so perhaps Sarr to Mbeumo, for example, at Brentford for 5.5 million, that would let me do Sancho to Son. And that is something I'm strongly considering because, again, with Wolves, with Everton as well to a certain extent, we're not quite sure what their defence is going to be like, right? Is it going to be as good as it has been? And I think Son's already in pre-season, which I like. If Kane is going to miss the start of the season, Son will be on penalties as well. And if you don't disregard the Man City game, but if you don't let it blind you, then in the first 4 fixtures, they play Wolves, Watford and Palace. That's pretty good fixtures. Wolves obviously got a new manager, Watford newly promoted, and Crystal Palace got a new manager and almost starting to build a whole new team. So how quickly will they gel together? We know what Son's like. When Son plays, he gets points. It's as simple as that. You don't have to make it more complicated. So to pay the extra 0.5 million over Sancho is possibly worth it, with then a view to downgrade later on. The question is, do I want to be stuck with a 6 million or a 5.5 million midfielder? Because there aren't too many options around that price. And also, if I want to switch it to a forward, there aren't really too many options around that price either. Realistically, I'd want Tony at 6.5 million. So already, I'm trying to find a lot of 0.5 millions, which I can't really get. Like, I could downgrade Sofal, I could downgrade Sancho to Mahrez and find another million, right? That would easily let me get Tony instead of Sarr. But then I don't have Sancho, and I don't have Son. And I kind of feel like that's maybe something a little bit different I can do with my squad. Obviously, another thing to do would be just to get Robertson, by the way, and just play like a 4 at the back, or even try and fit Robertson in with 3 at the back. But it just feels like there's a way to get a lot of money into midfield. And I kind of want to start off like that. I want to start a bit more aggressive, a bit more on the attack. But we know how good Liverpool's fixtures are, so I may just default to getting Robertson as well. But Sancho, I think, is potentially a goer. And I don't think there's too much risk with going with him. Yes, it's a large amount of the budget spent, but if I've got Salah and Fernandes still, who are going to be heavily capped in the first few weeks, and I've got the option of doing Sancho to Mahrez or Sancho to Havertz, finding 0.5 million and doing Sancho to Son. Obviously, that's if they don't go up in price. Then maybe it's not that bad. Rafinha is pretty much stuck in my team. I just don't really see me going with a different 6.5. And Sarr's in there for budget reasons. I think Watford's fixtures are quite good, but I'm still thinking, are they good enough? Is the Rafinha and Harrison double up a little bit better? I know that Leeds play Man United and Liverpool in the first 4, but the rest of the fixtures pretty much all the way to game week 10 are decent. So I might just overlook that and just put them in and kind of set and forget them. Okay, so I've probably got pretty much a forward line you've seen a lot of times. I think right now most forward lines, if you've not gone for Harry Kane, pretty much include 2 or 3 of Antonio, Watkins, Calvert-Lewin and Tony. I'm not seeing a huge amount of other players being put in. Sometimes Callum Wilson, for example. I did have Calvert-Lewin in my last draft. Again, I still haven't really gone off him massively. Like, for example, Sancho to Calvert-Lewin would mean 3-4-3. It would mean a 4.5 million midfielder instead of Davis, which is fine. And then another 1.5 million to spend. So I could make some of those other upgrades. I could upgrade Sarr to a 6.5, a 7, a 7.5, and just put the money wherever I want. So I'm not against Calvert-Lewin at all. I think like all players that were away in the Euros, especially like the England squad, because obviously they were away for the longest, got to wait till he gets back. There's all the questions around Richarlison's not there. That's not going to make Everton any better. We're going to have to wait on like Sigurdsson, James Rodriguez, just to find out what happens there as well. So there's a lot of kind of things up in the air, I think, with Everton, but the fixtures are so good, I might not let that put me off completely. I do still think Calvert-Lewin's a good option, but obviously Watkins and Antonio are both a little bit cheaper. I love Watkins, right? If you've watched my channel, I love Antonio, I should say. If you've watched my channel for a while, you don't need me to go back through that again. But again, Fixtures are pretty good. I don't think they're super easy, but I don't think they're very difficult either. And Antonio looks like a player you could potentially hold on to until at least game week 7 or 8. I know there's concerns over his fitness. You don't need to tell me how injury prone he is, but he's getting his pre-season in. He looks like he's going to be available from the start. Last season, we had a similar thing where he was... I think he played like the first 6 to 7 weeks, and we were all waiting until game week 8 because that's when the fixtures turned, and he got injured. At least this time the fixtures are good from the start. So I don't see me going without him. And Watkins' first 3 are just about as good as it gets. And also, if Everton don't hit the ground running, if Benitez doesn't switch them to a very good defensive side straight away, then I don't think the first 5 are that bad. To be honest, I am a little bit concerned about Watkins because I do think from game week 3, after game week 3, it probably is a transfer waiting to happen. I don't necessarily like booking in too many transfers early. But given there's so many options, Wilson, Tony, etc., there probably is a move that I could make there. And I don't agree with holding him through those fixtures like Chelsea, Everton, Man United, Spurs. Wolves is okay. Arsenal away, West Ham at home. It's not really a great run of fixtures. So as good as he is and as good as Villa is, or are, I don't know if I would hold on to him. So right now I'm in the 3-5-2. I quite like the look of it. I think Salah, Fernandes, Rafinha and Trent, I'm finding it very hard to go without any of them. I would like to downgrade Fernandes, but I just don't know if there's any point when I'm going to captain him. And then Watkins and Antonio are also staying in quite a few drafts. I really don't mind Sofao either. I think if I put Shaw in, I don't think I'd have Sofao as well because I'm trying to spend as little as possible in defence. But if Shaw's not an option, then Sofao might be the next best thing for me. Okay, let's do a bit of tinkering, show you where my head is at with these players. So with Bruno Fernandes out, you can do some pretty fun things. Now, I often see this, like, if you go without this player, look what you can do. But most of the time, you take out a player that people really want or that they should have. So I'm fully aware that Bruno Fernandes probably should be in my team. But look at the kind of things you can do, right? So Spurs will put Son in. Again, that Man City fixture isn't great. I know that. But we can actually get up to Mahrez. Now, Man City, you don't need to tell me there's a chance that these players don't play every game, that they get benched in some games. I fully get that. But one of the great things with Mahrez is he is playing early doors. Like, he is playing in pre-season. There's a lot of midfielders, Sterling, Foden, Grealish if he goes, etc., not already in pre-season training or playing pre-season matches. And I think I've said this on a video already this week. With some players, they're just going to go straight back into the team. With Man City, they've got the quality to get players up to full fitness before they're played. So it might not take too many weeks to do that, but that Norwich fixture in game week 2, I mean, how much is that potentially blinding me? I'm not sure, but it's pretty decent. And Arsenal and Leicester, look, they're not great fixtures, but for Man City attack, they might be okay. And then it's Southampton. So first 5, perhaps not as bad as it first looks. Now, to get that extra million, there's a few ways to do it. For example, Sofao down to a 4.5 and Trent down to a Robertson. I don't really want to remove Robertson. The other option would be to get Tony in for Watkins. Again, not strictly unhappy with that, but it is a big enough downgrade. But look at the midfield. Like, that is just so nice. And like, part of me just thinks it just looks too good. Yes, Bruno Fernandes could punish, and a lot of people will captain him. But can the likes of Sancho, Son and Mahrez together kind of keep up with that? When a lot of people are going to have like Fernandes and Buendia or someone like that, right? That'll be the other combo that they'll have. So this is something that I have looked at. And I think it's pretty decent when you consider the amount of midfielders you get. Obviously, it all relies on Sancho starting from the beginning. Maybe he won't. It relies on Mahrez getting a good few minutes as well. I do think Son is I'm probably overlooking Son a little bit. His price is a bit awkward at 10 million. There's no other players, at least in midfield, that are 10 million. But I just think Wolves, Watford and Palace, like, you could potentially captain him in these 2 fixtures if you didn't want to go for Fernandes. So it's not like getting rid of Fernandes means you've got no captain. But if Fernandes does what he did last year, I'd rather captain him instead. I don't know. We have to wait and see. If Kane, as reported, and I don't know how legit it is going to miss the first few games of the season, Son would get penalties, and that's huge, right? This is a guy that, like I said earlier, gets points when he plays. To have penalties added to that would be massive. So I just like the look of this midfield. And right now, a lot of my tinkering when I'm playing around with my draft is to try and put as much money in as possible into midfield and just see how much I hate it. I tweeted that the other day. And I don't really hate this team. I don't think there's too much you can fault with it in terms of overall squad balance. Sure, that 4 million defender on the bench might not play, but I've set up plenty of Game Week 1 teams with a 4 million bench fodder. Obviously, I'd prefer to have a 4.5 million midfielder than forward. I've said that a few times, but I have got Ayling on the bench, right? So I've got one player there that can cover, and there's a lot of downgrade opportunities. If I need to upgrade like Tony to a 7.5 or 8, then I just make the choice to get rid of one of Son, Mahrez or Sancho, maybe even Salah at some point. I doubt it anytime soon, but there's lots of downgradable options. So I don't think something like that is completely out of the question. It's all going to come down to captaincy, and I just won't bother deciding that this early on, not when we've still got a few weeks left. But this is what I'm thinking of doing. Otherwise, the only other way to get Sancho in as well, I think I already showed this on the Sancho video I did, is to go kind of like a 4-4-2. So you put Fernandes in there, you get rid of Mahrez. I mean, you could stick to 3-5-2 like I've got here. So this could be Buendia or someone like that. Let me just put him in. Also, obviously got really good fixtures to start. And then you either spend that 0.5 on your defence, so you put in a different defender here, or you find another 0.5 and upgrade Tony to Watkins, whatever it might be. But that's another option, to have Sancho and Fernandes and not have Son as well. That might be the compromise, right? Otherwise, you're playing like a 4 at the back or something like that. So if I put in a 4.5 million midfielder, it doesn't matter who it is for now. Davis could be upgraded to a 7. Again, you could downgrade Sofao to a 4.5 to get the money for Watkins. You could downgrade Trent to Robertson to get the money for Watkins. Whatever it might be, if you wanted to play 3-4-3. Otherwise, you just keep Davis in and you just spend that money on a defender. So a 6.5 million defender. I don't think someone like Van Dijk is necessarily going to be fit to start the season, but you could fit him in. Again, I'm not going to play with every single different permutation, but this is something you could do instead. So play a 4-4-2. So you still get your Sancho in there. It could be Mahrez instead. You could try and find another 0.5 to get Son instead. But I think that's the best way, to have Fernandes plus one of those Mahrez, Son or Sancho players in the team as well. And I don't think it leaves you massively inflexible, really. Like you could swap Sancho to a Buendia and then put the rest of the money in a striker and play 4-3-3. You could get rid of Van Dijk and put the money up front, whatever it might be. So there's ways around it, but I'm just not that comfortable with it. Realistically, I want to be playing 3 at the back, right? But let me know what you think about all these teams. So there you go. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching my updated FPL draft. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Give it a like if you enjoy it. And hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. Trying to hit that magic 200,000 mark by the start of the season. And then we'll start pushing towards 250,000, which just sounds ridiculous, by the way. If you haven't checked out Ultimate Fan, make sure you do. Link in the description below. If you're 18 or over from the UK or Ireland, it's completely free to play. Yes, you can buy the subscription for the packs if you want to, but you don't have to. And it is worth getting in now to start building your team ahead of the season, right? You don't want to just start doing it right before the season. You can still play, but you won't have as many players as someone that's already started now. My team's looking pretty good. And even if it doesn't do well for Game Week 1, there's a new contest in Game Week 2, a new one for Game Week 3, etc. So give it a download now if you're 18 or over from the UK or Ireland. Link in the description below. I'll leave that there. Be back tomorrow with another video. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.